Hi guys, this is Maciek from DCX, and that quick video is a quick guide about the rack system and the rack frame, how it works and what you can expect from it. So as you can see behind me is the rack frame. It combines three standard immersion mining enclosures, so building block for every scale-out solution we have, and that rack has the few components I would like to describe and present. One is the aluminum frame, and that frame allows us to deliver it to the customers pre-assembled, but for the final self-assembly, so it's really dense package. This is kind of IKEA style delivery, so on one pallet we can fit both three enclosures and the rack frame, and we still ship it on the typical Euro pallet. So this is how it works. As you can see, that rack has the three enclosures, and we slide bottom enclosure and the mid-level enclosure. The top one is serviced from the top, and one of the great results of the immersion mining is that we have so less of maintenance, so we don't expect you guys to use the steps to remove any of those miners, because the immersion mining is about the improved MTBF, less repairs, less burned elements, and protection from every elements out there. So no corrosion, no dust, no overburning of those components. So this is how it works. Now I will show you what we use for sliding both of those enclosures. This is a sliding platform which works in both ways. It's relatively light. It's not so much light, but we cope with that. And the rack system has those components, which are those elements which are blocking those from the sliding, and those enclosures are usually should have the weight of around 300 kilograms, including all the immersion fluid inside. The enclosure itself is about 50 kilograms. And because all those active components, these are not just simple tanks, they have braced heat exchanger and pump integrated into that enclosure already, so it adds some weight. And plus that, we need to consider up to 180 kilograms of the fluid. It's lighter than water, for example, but even though it's 180 kilograms. And on top of it, we have the hardware, which can weigh up to 100 kilograms, right? Depends on the manufacturer and the components. So we are sliding that fairly easy. It's actually better working when it's completely filled with the fluid and all those weights. Works like this. Actually, it doesn't require too much strength. Doesn't require too much strength. Just one hand sliding, as you can see. This is how it works, and that allows you to do all the maintenance. That enclosure right now is not filled with any component which usually stays there, but we can fit here into the single enclosure. We can fit up to 8 of S19 ant miner. These are really large miners. There's no other offering in terms of the immersion cooling systems that will fit up to 8 of those units. They are really big, but we designed those enclosures to fit that S19 miners. With the Watts miners, so single tube miner with the additional power supply, we can fit up to 15 of those into the system. And with the M20 Watts miners, so older types, we can fit 12 inside. Of course, this is we size it for the miner with the power supply included. If you would like to extend the power supply on some cabling, you can put all those power supplies outside of the enclosure. And having that power supplies separated, you can improve the density of the system. So this is how it works. As you can see, in the front of those enclosures, you have the switchgear boxes. So all the electrical protection, all those components are integrated into the enclosure also. And you can route the tubing. You can just remove that part. It's removable, that frame here. And you can just route all the cabling here, connect everything, and you don't have any cable sticking out of the enclosure, so in the multiple loops. So elegant solution, and this is what we suggest. In the back of those enclosures, you have all the hydraulic components integrated. So we separate the electrical part from the hydraulic side, right? So this is middle enclosure which slides out, and then we just need to remove the bottom enclosure. And as you can see, the table works. So we put the sliding table or sliding platform on the other side. The same platform allows us to do the maintenance on both middle and lower enclosure. And you are removing that one for the sake of the maintenance. As said, we don't have that much of the maintenance with immersion cooling systems. This is why we actually consider those solutions. But as you can see, quite dense solution. I'm sliding those enclosures with all the tubing attached to it, attached and filled with the water glycol mixture already. So it's not so hard to do it, and we expect that every customer can do it with this. So let's move on to the another component of the rack system. This is the Blackbox integrated facility tubing and pumping system, and that also integrates the manifold system. We choose that separate component instead of placing that within the, let's say, rack frame, so we don't have any constraints related to the capacity. We can use multiple of those modules. We can extend that module. We can add multiple enclosures, having separate pumping system, which allows us for the easy of commissioning and startup of the system. So it looks kind of hydraulics, not that kind of the IT side, but it's have all goodies you need to start the system within, let's say, minutes or let's say hours, but not days, right? So you have that Blackbox has a few components I will quickly describe. One is all the manifolds, which allows us to check the pressure within the system. Those are also thermometers, show us the temperature on the primary loop, so the loop between those Blackbox and the Dracula system, so we can measure what is the efficiency of heat exchange on the primary loop. So this is why we need the continuous control. We have all the fittings to connect individual enclosures, so the hot side and the cold side. And here, that manifold is prepared to maintain 3 enclosures with the rack system. This is the second version of that manifold, and we still have some more upgrades with the another versions, which will go into the market in February. That manifold unit may be installed on the side of the rack, in the back of the rack, on the wall, between those racks, so every installation point is possible. Besides the air vents, as you can see, that's higher than the rest of the components, so it allows us to easy to vent the unit. Besides the thermometers and manifolds, besides the fittings, you have also the expansion vessel. So if you overheat your system, then the expansion vessel works and takes that pressure and allows us to maintain the system and to not have any damage. And on the very bottom, you have the pump. We are using that pump, but it may be any other pump. We can deliver pre-assembled everything for you guys, so you can just connect the tubing using the hose fittings. You just connect it with the clamps, adding the pressure, adding some fluid with the pump we provide, and just start the system. As I said, it takes minutes, not hours. The Dracula system is another component of the rack frame, of the rack unit. So as you can see, that unit is installed in the horizontal tabletop position, but it can maybe also installed in the vertical position. You can see 3 fans. You are using industrial grade EBM pumps, that's recognized name, fans. And those are controlled by the fan controller. And that's adaptive fan controller. It's located hidden here. And that unit allows us to save the energy and also lessen the noise emission from that system. although it's really low compared to any other dry cooler. As you can see, whether that would be 120 kilowatt dry cooler or 40 kilowatt cooling and pumping unit, those units are immersion optimized. So they are designed to work on the hot incoming fluids with the temperature of 65 degrees Celsius, and on the outcoming they should deliver between 30 and 40 degrees Celsius, even if the ambient temperature is 35 degrees. So we designed them to work with the immersion system and during the hot season. So this is how it works. As you can see, those are that 120 kilowatt dry cooler is connected using the standard 2-inch fittings with the flexible hose, which allow you to create the loop connected quickly. And if you have to change the location of both components, redesign your scale-out installation, you can easily do so, just rerouting the tubing. So it's a convenient solution. Now, what's behind the rack system, how the back of our enclosures and connection looks like. I will show you how it's connected. Now, as you can see here, we have the flexible tubing, and we're using that tubing to allow those components those enclosures to slide out easily from the system. It's very easy to actually connect them just using GBS clamps, properly securing it, and of course that's just temporary here. And then you can just open the connection, and this is how you connect here on that side. You need those clamps connected. As you can see, it's not really a hard job to do, and it's fairly easy, to start the operation. Of course, I will be using proper. I will do the proper manual later, but for now, just to describe. Now, in the back of the enclosure, as you can see, the enclosure have the user-proof housing, heating, two components, which are a circulation pump designed to work with the electric immersion heat transfer fluid, and the brace plate heat exchanger. And what we should mention again and again, that the electric fluid, thermosafe R, which we deliver, is working only within the enclosure. So it doesn't leave the enclosure at all. Outside, in the connection between the enclosures and the dry cooler, we are using water glycol mixture or water with additives. It depends on the ambient temperatures which you can expect. So it's designed for the specific temperatures outside. But here, the secondary loop, so the loop within the enclosure, is working on the electric fluid. And we were working hard for the last year to check different pumps and to choose the pumps and to create the working system which works flawlessly for years, and we are pretty satisfied with that one. That specific pump allows us to circulate the fluid with the speed of 88 liters per minute. So it's enough to remove to transfer up to 40 kilowatt of heat to the brace plate heat exchanger, and brace plate heat exchanger then removes that heat out to the outside heat rejection device, as for example the dry cooler system shown here. Now, just for the quick information, you are connecting also very easily. You have the hot side here and the cold side here, so that takes the heat from those enclosures, and that supplies the colder fluid to the enclosures. And it's fairly easy, to connect those. Since that hot side, I will connect it to the top fitting of those brace plate heat exchanger, and that's the other colder side will supply the bottom fitting of the heat exchanger. So I will always use those clamps to secure everything. But just for now, you are just putting it here. As you can see, it's fairly easy to do that. You'll have the clamps here, you're connecting it here, and you'll be able to easily pressure the system and to remove all the air from the system using our black box with the provided air vents. So it's very easy to start the operation. So as you can see, these are the main components of our rack system solution. The rack frame, 3 immersion mining enclosures, a Blackbox, so which creates the facility loop with our heat rejection device, 120 kilowatt dry cooler. And that's all maybe started very easily, very quickly, within some minutes. And that gives you the biggest density currently within the industry. So 120 kilowatts up to 150 kilowatts of heat transfer within the 1 square meter of space. So that's the biggest density you can find within the immersion mining industry. So stay with us. We'll show you some more information about the startup and installation and commissioning of that unit. And we'll show you how the immersion system works. Cheers.